a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Hope today, hope you're feeling grand, and those by your world, hello everybody. Welcome to A&Q Wednesday, everybody. Before I get to question one today, I just want to say, if you want to submit a question for A&Q Wednesday, please go to the description box below. There's an email link in the description box. Email me there. And I'll get to your question. Okay, so unless I've answered it before, in which case you'll have to track back through how many A&Qs I've done, and the answer will be in there somewhere. Anyway, and also I do apologise about the lighting today, people of the tube. It's like really bright outside, and then it goes really dark, and I can't get the room dark enough for the diffuser light to do anything. So it's just a bit of a nightmare today for lighting. So I hope I look really washed out and white, like ghost-like in the LCD screen. So hopefully it's not too annoying. Well, as annoying as my face can be anyway. Anyway, should we get to question one today, shall we? Yes, let's do it. Okay, so question one today. Question one today is why if you get your tone from pedals, why do you have all? Well, before I get to this question, I will say question one has quite a few bits. So let's go. So why, if you get your tone from pedals, why do you have all the amps? Simply because they all sound different, and variety is everything. I mean, the CR120 sounds different to the MG. The MG sounds different to the Katana. The Katana sounds different to any of my other amps. The Vox Escorts. They all take things in a different way, and I like it. Even all my MGs are different. This one sounds different to my number 1 MG, the Fish, and it sounds different to my number 2 MG. This is my third one that I got, and this sounds different to the mothers. Like, for instance, my two CR120s, this one sounds darker, my black one sounds brighter. They all have different characteristics. It's the same way as why do you have so many guitars? It's because they are all different. They all inspire different things, and they all sound different. They've got their own different personalities about them, and I like the way that certain ones do. So, like, I always find the Orange to be really smooth and warm and just kind of like there's no harsh edges to it. Whereas the Marshall has a little bit more of a spike to it in the mid range, whereas the Orange doesn't. And then like with the Katana, in all fairness, I'd probably say the Katana is my dream. Well, I've said that before. Is my dream amp because every time I plug into the Katana, it's exactly what I want from an amplifier. It's the best of these combined in one, with added inclusion of it just being the most versatilely amazing thing in the world. But yeah, so why do I have so many amps if I get all my sample pedals? Because they all take things differently, and also occasionally I like to plug straight in to amps. Not very often, but because I like effects. But if I plug straight into an amplifier, like I would get bored if I was just plugging into the MG all the time. I would get bored of it. It's funny enough, it's why I'm back to the MG at this point in time, is I got a bit tired of playing through the CR120. It's, after a while I get kind of like, I want something different. And if I only had the CR120, I wouldn't, and no other amps, I wouldn't have that. So I like to be able to go, I'm kind of bored of that tone now. I kind of want to go to this tone, which is a little bit more, a little bit bright, a little bit more spiky, so to say, but still really warm and nice, but has a little bit more cut to it. So from that, and then also another time I might be like, no, I fancy a bit more kind of like my Fender Super Reverb or my Boss Katana, So it's just variety. They all sound differently. They all sound different. Even when I run my pedals through it, they all sound similar but feel massively different. They've all got their own little personalities and quirks and all sorts of stuff. So that's why I have so many amps. Again, it's why I have so many guitars. They all inspire different things. And I'm going to do a video on that at some point in the future anyway, explaining that in more detail. But for now, that's kind of where I'm going to leave that. Okay, otherwise we'll be here all day, and I'll be talking about that all day, and there'll be no point in me doing the video. Anyway, so moving on to the next part of question one. What is your favourite Pearl Jam album after 10? I don't know. I really love Vitology, and Yield is really cool. But I mean, I really do think that I like Versus. I mean, I know that's literally the album right after 10, but I think Versus is probably my favourite album after 10. I mean, and again, I do apologise about the lighting, people. Gee, one sec. Give me one moment. Just talk among yourselves for a little bit. Is that a little bit better? That's a bit better, isn't it? You can see me for what I am. Ugly. Anyway, So yeah, favourite Pearl Jam album, I would say Versus. I mean, I do love Vitology and stuff like that. I really like Backspacer as well. Backspacer was a great album. As well as... what's the one with Sirens on it? And there's some great songs on that. Is that... No, it's not Backspacer. Oh, bloody hell. I'm so bad at remembering album titles. I'm bad at remembering song names and album titles and all that kind of thing. But I do like Versus. I think Versus would be my answer to that one, definitely. Love it. It's my favourite lineup of Pearl Jam as well at that point in time. Anyway, top 3 gigs you've been to. Oh, that's easy. Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam, and... Actually, the third one's a lot harder. So, Chili Peppers, without doubt, because it was life-changing and just incredible. Pearl Jam, because, again, got to see Mike McCready live, who's, again, a massive hero of mine, and hearing him and seeing him live, even though I was at the back of the stadium, was amazing. The last one is difficult, because I've been to see quite a lot of bands that are amazing. Rise Against were amazing. They're one of the best live bands I've ever seen. They were just ridiculous, just full of energy and absolutely blasted it. But then there was Muse. Muse were good, although I was a bit let down by Muse when I went to see them because they kind of just... I don't know. It was just very, very short. They played literally just over an hour and called it a day, which I thought was a bit weird. Because I expected them to play for quite a while and they just didn't, which is a bit strange. System of a Down were cool. Darkness were amazing. In all honesty, I think my answer to the third one will be The Darkness. I mean, I've seen a lot of live bands, and The Darkness were probably one of the best live bands I've ever seen. They were incredible. Like, not just kind of like from a musical standpoint, just from a perspective of like showmanship and the way they were on stage and like the on stage kind of like charisma, if you will, was incredible. Like, it was just amazing. I saw him at Rock City as well, so it's a really tiny venue, and they were just amazing. They really were amazing. So I would say The Darkness. I would say Chili Peppers both times, Pearl Jam when I saw him at the MEN Arena, and The Darkness when I saw him at Rock City, because they were just amazing, and I love The Darkness. And if you haven't seen Justin Hawkins Rides Again on YouTube, go and check out Justin Hawkins Rides Again. It's an amazing channel. I love it. I love watching it. It's one of my favourite new channels on YouTube. Okay, so how was this question? So bands you'd wish you'd seen live: Art's Easy, Jimi Hendrix, and Rory Gallagher, and Fleetwood Mac with Peter Green. Like back in the day. I mean, I could probably think of others. I'd love to have seen the Chili Peppers live in like '99. That my favourite era of the Chili Peppers. I would love to have seen them live around that time, but again, I didn't even play guitar at that point in time. It was another 3 years until I even picked up a guitar. Anyway, so that'd be that one. I mean, there's loads more, but that would be the main one, especially Jimi Hendrix is one of those. You know, if I could go back in time and see anybody, it'd be Jimi Hendrix. It really would. So, thoughts on Jared James Nichols? I don't have any thoughts. He's not on my radar, so I don't have any kind of thoughts on him at all. You know, he's a great guitarist, and that's about all I can say, really. He doesn't really come into my world, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I can't really go any further than that, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But he's a great guitarist. Really, really cool guy. Yeah, so... another part of question one was... Sorry, I was just trying to find the other part of question one. You win the lottery. Which amp, guitar, and free pedals do you buy? That's a cool question. People of the Tube, this question goes to you as well. If you won the lottery, what amp, guitar, and free pedals would you buy? Let us know in the comment section below. For me, the amp I would buy... It'd have to be a Plexi. An old Plexi. Preferably one with JHEXP stamped on the side of it. But an old Plexi would be the amp I would buy if like money was nowhere. That is one of those kind of like dream amps for me. It's like an actual really old Marshall Plexi from the 60s. Like the 68 Super Bass we had in Old Hat was just like heaven. I can see why like they reissued the 68s, you know. Anyway, but that'd be the amp I would get. The guitar, would probably be probably like a 50s Strat, because it's the one I haven't got. Because I'm a lucky sod. But I would love like a 59 Strat or a 58 Strat. That'd be really, really cool. So I'd probably get one of those. This is all wishful thinking, isn't it? And pedal-wise, what would it be that let's outlaw what I already have. Let's say I'd get something else. So I would probably get something like crumbs. I don't actually know. Because I'm kind of happy with the pedals I've got, but like, let's outlaw those ones. Say that I can't have the same ones. There's a pedal called the Ventris, which I would get. There's another pedal called the Microcosm, which I would get. My friend Ian's got these, and they're just heaven. And I'd probably get... I don't know. I don't know about the third one, but that's about as far as I'd go. But they'd be mainly spacey effects. Like, the Ventris is amazing, and the Microcosm is just, like, one of the coolest things ever. And I'd probably get something like, I don't know. I'd probably buy an old Vox wah-wah pedal, like an old 60s wah-wah pedal, silver top Vox wah pedal. That's what I'd probably get. So that'd be me. Okay, so, and finally, question one today, final part of question one today is, what do you think the Red Hot Chili Peppers work, of the Red Hot Chili Peppers work with Dave Navarro? I'm not really the biggest fan. Again, it's not on my radar, so I can't really comment. If other people love it, that's all. That's all that matters. You know, me personally, I don't really like One Hot Minute. It doesn't really do it for me. There are some great songs on there: Aeroplane, Walkabout, Warped, My Friends. Yeah, some of the other songs on there I can't remember the titles of. They're great songs, but they're not something I would ever really kind of like listen to a lot of, if that makes any sense, you know. So be that for what it may, but it's not really for me, you know what I mean. It's not really on my radar again, so to say. Anyway, so I hope that's the question. I'm going to move on to question 2 now. Question 2 today is, I want to know your thoughts on my 2 favourite guitarists, Jerry Cantrell and the late great Dimebag Darrel. I know you're not really a metal kind of guy, but both Jerry and Dime had a very bluesy style of playing and have inspired guitarists of many genres of music. Have they influenced or inspired you at all? Your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I was a metal kind of guy. I knew multiple metal albums, including Pantera albums, front to back. I knew all of Cowboys from Hell. I knew all of Master of Puppets, Black Album. I knew some other stuff. I knew some Megadeth at one point. But I was a big Dimebag Darrell fan. I still like him as a player. I can't say I really like his sound. I don't really like his guitar tone. I love the fact he used solid state amps, so that makes me very happy. But I can't say I particularly like his guitar tone. But as a guitarist, the man's incredible. Jerry Cantrell is one of my favourite guitarists of all times, and I know so many of Jerry's songs, how to play them, and Jerry's a big influence on me. I wouldn't say Dimebag's a very big influence on me at all. I like his playing and I like him. I like his guitar style, but I wouldn't class him as an influence. Whereas Jerry is a massive influence on me. There's a lot that I have taken from him and put into my own playing. He's not up there in the top 5, I wouldn't say, of my guitar hero influences. He's not up there with John, Jimmy, Peter, Rory, and Mike. But he's not far below. He could be number 6, to be all honest with you, because there's so many things every time I do certain things, and I'm like, that sounds like Jerry Cantrell. And I fell in love with his guitar style and his songwriting and his guitar tone. Funny enough, I'm not the biggest fan of his guitar tone with the Friedmans. I much prefer the sound he's had in previous years. The Friedman sounds a bit kind of like scratchy. There's something kind of not quite right with it, but obviously that's where Jerry is right now, which is cool. But for me, I much preferred the sound he had like earlier on. Man in the Man in the Box era, Facelift and Dirt. Dirt has some amazing guitar tones, and live as well. I mean, Jerry had some great tones at that time. It's fun. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly what Jerry used, because when they did Facelift, this was something really cool. I was listening to I was watching a video with Dave Jnr, I think his name is, and he's the guy who did I believe it's Dave Jnr. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me, people at you. But he's the guy who recorded Facelift and Dirt, and I've always wondered how they got that guitar tone on Facelift, because it's one of my favourite guitar sounds of all time, and I just adore it. And I was like, I wonder how they got that, because I went after it in my how many tones can you get out of one amp video, and I was never happy with it, and I was like, it just doesn't sound right. And to me, it's got like multiple layers. And then when this interview with Dave Jnr came out, all that made sense, because I found they used 3 different amplifiers to get one sound. Dave basically said what they did is they used a modded Marshall for the low frequencies of the sound. They used a Randall combo for the mids, and they used a Rockman of Def Leppard fame for the highs, and blended all 3 to create that sound, because it's a really 3-dimensional guitar tone Jerry's got on Facelift. It's really, there's all sorts going on, like, dynamically and tonally and all sorts. It's crazy. There's so many frequencies going on, but they never kind of step out the bounds of guitar frequencies. And so all of a sudden that made so much sense of why it sounds so 3-dimensional. It's like, because you've got 3 different amps making up one sound. And Dave Jnr said that the Marshall was a Bogner modded Marshall that Jerry always wanted, and they weren't selling it basically because it wasn't his. But Jerry used that on Facelift and Dirt. I don't know if he used it on anything else, but that was his main amp, the main core amp, if you will, for most of that. And they mic'd it. Apparently, they used a 412 cab and mic'd 2 different speakers on the cab. So you had the Marshall. I think it was just like a super lead, modded super lead, and they modded it. They mic'd it, with 2 mics on one speaker, on the top 2 speakers. So one would have been there and one would have been there, and then they set the Marshall to do what it did. And then the Randall combo was mic'd. It was a 1x12 combo, and they put a mic in the front and a mic in the back of it as well. So not only did you get the front sound, you also got the back end of the speaker as well. So that was that. And then the Rockman was just straight DI, and it was just set however it was set. And that's why you get this massive tonal sound. Like if you listen to Man in the Box or We Die Young or any of the songs off Facelift, it's a really thick guitar tone. And the same when it comes to Dirt. Down that river when it starts, it's so fat, and then it kicks into Crumbs. Damn that river. No, it's Them Bones it starts on, sorry. Yeah, it starts with Them Bones and then goes into Damn that river. And you go, there's Dave's amazing knowledge of song titles. Awful. I can play them, I can't necessarily name them. I can't even name my own songs. I lose track of them all the time. But the guitar tones on that album are just so big. And then obviously later on, with the Alice in Chains kind of, their final album, the self-entitled Alice in Chains album with the 3-legged dog on the front, you get songs like Grind and stuff like that, where it's just this big, fat, heavy sound. And then also Jerry's soul albums are amazing. One of my favourite tones is a song called Spiderbite off Jerry's album Degradation Trip. And on that song, Spiderbite has some of the heaviest guitars I've ever heard. But my God, do they sound immense. I really want to try and get that sound one day. I might do a video on it maybe. The Spiderbite tone, because it is just literally one of my favourite all-time heavy guitar tones ever. It's just ridiculous. And I don't know how he did it or what he used. It sounds like a messer, but again, with Jerry, I highly doubt it's just one amplifier. I bet it's multiple amps making up one sound. Because that seems to be the way he works in the studio. He doesn't seem to just kind of like use one amp to get everything. He tends to kind of like mix and match. But I've got to say, I'm not the biggest fan of his Double J amp. It doesn't sound, I don't know, it just sounds a bit kind of like harsh in the mid-range, whereas Jerry's always had a kind of a nice mid-range to his sound. I don't know, there's a bit of a scratchy nature to it, but again, that's just me and the way I see it. But Jerry, going back to the initial point on the question, I love Jerry's guitar playing. I loved it. I mean, I have a picture of him on my wall at home, and he's been there since I think 2005 is when I was introduced to Alice in Chains, and I still listen to Alice in Chains now, and I love them, and I play their songs and still learn their songs. There's some off the Rainier Fog album I really want to learn, because they're just amazing. They're just really, really cool. His songwriting is amazing as well. I mean, I admire Jerry for so many things, like, you know, his songwriting, his guitar tone, his guitar playing, his singing, you know, his use of melody, use of harmony. The man's a genius in my book. He really is, and he has inspired a lot in me, and inspired me to kind of do a lot of things, and a lot of palm mutey stuff I get comes from him. Funnily enough, actually, one of the core kind of things in my guitar tone, when I try and get my guitar tone, is it has to palm mute to sound like Jerry Cantrell. So when I palm mute my guitars, it has to sound like that really kind of pick heavy attack palm muting. It has to do that Jerry Cantrell facelift kind of sound. If it doesn't do that and it's flubbing out or it's not quite fat enough, I will have to go back and tweak it. Maybe I'll talk about that in future video, I don't know. But yeah, that's one of the things. Like, my palm muting sound has to sound like Jerry's sound in facelift. It has to. I want that kind of like that kind of scratchy kind of, like I say, pick heavy attack. It's amazing. But I love Jerry. Like I say, Dime is one of those guitarists that I really respect, and what happened to him is something that should never have happened to anyone. It's just vile, and it's just disgusting, and makes me angry, and really, really sad at the same time, because, you know, nothing to gain from that, is there? Anyway, but like I say, Dimebag hasn't been the biggest influence on me. I went for a massive Pantera phase when I was younger. When I was in my like metal phase, and I was learning loads of Metallica and Megadeth and Pantera and like basically anything really heavy. That you know, Pantera right up there. Like I say, I remember learning Cowboys from Hell front to back. I can barely remember any of it now because I haven't played any of it for years. I can still play Cowboys from Hell. I can play bits of Cemetery Gates. And Hollow and stuff like that, but I can't really remember much of it, to be honest with you. But yeah, amazing guitarist, you know, and, you know, just taken away far too early again, like so many of them. Anyway, but Jerry's a massive influence on me. I wouldn't say Dime is, unfortunately. I don't really hear anything of him in me, really. There's nothing really there, but Jerry Cantrell, definitely. Okay, so I hope that's a question. Gonna move on to question 3 now. Okay, so question 3 today is, do you still have your Ibanez Jem Jnr? I do. It's just sat just over there. It's literally one of my favourite guitars of all time, my Jem Jnr. And have you considered reviewing Steve Vai's new signature guitar, the Pia? The Pia, recently tried one of those in Anderton's, and it's a masterpiece. Much in the same way the Jems are. The Jem, my Jem Jr. and Jems in general, I don't know what sorcery is going on with those guitars, but oh my god, I love them so much. For me, they're a masterpiece. They really are. And I don't really know why or what it is, but every time I pick up a Jem, my Jem, or any of them, or the Pia the other week in Anderton's, it's just like, do what you want. I've got you, don't worry about it. And literally, no matter what I want to do on the guitar, I can do it. The only thing that bends me out of shape with the Jems and the Jem Juniors and the Pia, which would stop me from using it as my main guitar, because I would, I mean, in all honesty, people do, if there was like one guitar I'd use loads of, if it didn't have 24 frets, it would be the Jem Jr. But the 24 fret thing really annoys me, because what it does is it pushes back the neck pickup like by a smidgen bit. So instead of being here, it's kind of moved back here because of to accommodate the last couple of frets, and that puts the neck pickup in a not quite position 2. It's position 4. It's not quite in position 4, but it's not quite neck pickup either. It's got this kind of like lighter, more honky kind of thing that I don't really I love but don't love. You know, it's a funny thing, and that is the one thing that really bugs me about the Jem and the Pia is the 24 fret thing. I understand totally why that is, because Steve uses that. You know, he needs 24 frets. But for me, I don't like 24 fret guitars. The most I'll go is 22, and that is it. I don't need the extra 2 frets. I just don't like them. In all fairness, I like the 21 frets of a Stratocaster. I don't really like having 22 frets on a Strat. Obviously on a Les Paul you can't get away with that. That's the design. But I don't really like 24 frets because of the way it moves the neck pickup. 22 frets doesn't move the neck pickup. You've still got that sound. But 24 shifts that neck pickup just a little bit too far back for my liking tonally, and I don't really like it. Let me... One second. So yeah, so basically, like I say, this you can see how butted up the neck humbucker is to here. But basically, this should be about there, somewhere between the 23rd and the 24th fret. That should be kind of like on that line. So it's moved back maybe about 1/4 inch, give or take, and because of that, it just doesn't. This doesn't sound totally like the neck pickup that I want, which kind of annoys me because this guitar is literally insane and it squeaks with the tremolo. I love that squeaky noise. But this guitar is one of those guitars when even just now, like the neck carve on this thing, it's just like heaven. This guitar is heaven, and this is one of those weird guitars. Like I said, I bought this guitar initially just to do a review on it, and then I was going to sell it on. It's gone really dark now, isn't it, on the camera? Can't win today with the lighting. I just can't win. So we're just going to keep going. We're going to persevere. But I got this guitar. I was going to do another review on it, and I was going to sell the thing. And literally, as soon as I got this thing set up the way I wanted it, which hasn't changed since I got it, apart from, obviously, the only thing I've changed is we got a mint green guard on this thing now, and I've relicked it to look like Steve's Evo. The relic job on this guitar, actually, is a copy of Evo's wear. If you look at... is it Evo? Yeah, it's not Flow, is it? It's Evo. If you look at the dints and dents and the edge wear on Evo, Steve's kind of like #1 gem. Well, #1, but not #1. This is the pattern of wear he's got on his, and I copied it because I thought it looked really, really cool, along with these kind of like crack marks in the lacquer and all the dints and dents. So that's why that's where that comes from. But they're just amazing guitars, and this one is just, like I say, this guitar will never leave me. I will have this guitar forever and a day. It really will. This is just like all the guitars in this rack over here, just keepers. They're just ridiculous. But this is one of those guitars where when I pick it up, I can do anything I want on this. I can play really fast on this. I can play really slow on this. I can come up with things like it's really inspiring. But the only thing that does bug me is that neck humbucker in its position with 24 frets. It kind of bugs me. I would just get rid of those and move that back to where it kind of wants to be. Well, for me. That's the only thing that really bugs me about that. Other than that, this guitar is perfection. It really is. There's just something very, very special about this. And when I picked up that Pia the other day in Anderton's and tried the Pia, it wasn't set up. It's not set up. The action was... the action was a bit too high for me. If the Floyd kind of got in the way, and I kept hitting it and knocking the guitar out of tune because it was set up kind of not how I would have it. Which, if you've seen that video day out at Anderton's, you can hear me kind of pressing on it and it doing this because I'm pressing too hard on the Floyd, and it's not set up for how I would have it, which is how I've got this one set up. And but that's okay. But as soon as I touched that guitar, I was like, that is unreal. How have they done it? Like, how do they do it? How did Ibanez do this? And how does Steve... It's just I don't get it. But I would love to review a Pia. But again, the price tag says no on that one. I couldn't afford it if I tried. Way out of my price range. But I don't know. I don't know. The future's a weird thing, and no one knows what's happening. But I would love to review a Pia. I'd love to own a Pia, to be honest with you. They are literally gorgeous. Look how dark it is now. Crazy. I might change the filter on the camera after this question, actually, just so it's not so dark. Or maybe I should open the blind now. I'll open the blind people with you, and then it'll just be like bright. It'll get sunny again or something. Too bright. Self-lighting. Need a camera crew. That'll do ya. That'll do ya. But yeah, this guitar is absolutely ridiculously amazing. Like I said, I will never part with this gem. It will never leave me. And yeah, it's just insane. Loads of people ask about the numbers as well. Well, that's a secret. I can't tell you that. If I tell you that, I'd have to kill you. Anyway, but yeah, I would love to review a Pia. And yes, I've still got this. You might not see it all the time, but it'll never leave me. Trust me. It's going nowhere. You can't prise this out of my cold, dead, rigor mortis fingers, I tell you. And it's one of those guitars. It sounds a bit weird to say, but this is one of those guitars that even if I don't really like, if I don't really particularly like to want, is great English. Even if I don't particularly even want to play it, that day, I like knowing this is around me. That's why it comes with me, kind of quite a lot of places. It's why it's here at Queenie's at this point in time. But this is one of those guitars that if it's not near me, I kind of like don't like the feeling of it not having it nearby. So yeah, this is one of those. It's like Mr. White. It's like the 62. It's like the ST and the 79 and the Red Oswald. There, it's got something and another guitar which I can't tell you about just yet. It's just got one of those things where I'm like, I kind of like. I miss it too much if it's not there. Anyway, hope that's this question. I'm going to move on to the final question of the day, everybody. Question 4. Okay, so question 4 today is: I know your pedal signal. Your signal goes from me guitar to other pedals, then jackhammer, Guv'nor, reverb delay, and then amp. Have you ever tried the jackhammer and the Guv'nor the other way around? So instead of the jackhammer going into the Guv'nor, it's the Guv'nor going into the jackhammer. Yeah, I have tried it the other way around. I don't like it. I hate it. I find that I like the jackhammer after the Guv'nor. Do you have any special reason for set it your way? Yeah, it was just when I was setting my pedal board up years and years ago, because my pedal board hasn't really changed since 2005, 2006, 2006 more likely. But since then, because I remember just like, I found the Guv'nor and stuff like that, and I didn't have a jackhammer. Initially it was an Ibanez Tube Screamer, which eventually sold because I just don't like tube screamers. It just took me a bit to understand why. But I have them that way. Like for me, everything starts with the amp bar. I'm always backwards. I go from the amp. So it goes from amp, zoom, delay, Mel 9, Guv'nor, Golden Plexi, wah, so on and so forth. I have it that way. It's just through experimentation. I've tried all my pedals in every conceivable combination. I have spent hours and days and years going, what's this sound like there? What's this sound like there? What's this sound like there? To the point now where I know exactly where I want things, bar none. And I know exactly where I need things to do certain sounds or to make certain pedals behave for me. So I know where I need the Golden Plexi. I know where I need the Guv'nor. And the the Golden Plexi feeding the Guv'nor came from just experimentation and just sitting there with my pedals for hours and hours and hours and days and years and going, that's the way I prefer that sound. And being a creature of habit, once I find something that works and that I like, I don't experiment again. Once I've found something that goes, that's how it works, that's it. I don't feel the need to change things. My Zoom G2s are set up with the exact same settings that I came across in 2005 with my first G2, which I got in 2005. 2004, I apologise. That was the first year I got a G2 because I wanted another 606, but I didn't realise they'd stopped making them. So I got the G2.1U for Christmas. My mum bought me it for Christmas. And the settings I stumbled on that pedal in 2005 are still the same settings I use today. They haven't changed. And in late 2005, 2006, I forget exactly when I got the Guv'nor. The setting I stumbled on with the Guv'nor, which is gain all the way up, no bass, deep dial all the way up, no treble, middle is at 10 o'clock, and then master volume of the pedal is at 3 o'clock. That setting hasn't changed. Well, the volume fluctuates. I mess around with the volume quite a lot not quite a lot, a bit on the Guv'nor, but not really. But that setting hasn't changed. Yeah, the EQ on both my Guv'nors is exactly the same. The same with the Golden Plexi. As soon as I found the setting on the Golden Plexi, that's the way it stayed. DS2 has always been maxed out, although I used to use mode 1 instead of mode 2. The double muff by Electro-Harmonix, that's the same thing. The delays in my Line 6 delay modeler, I don't even remember how I had them set. It's been that long ago since I set them. When would that have been? Because this is my second Line 6 delay model. My first one blew up and died many, many moons ago, but I set this one up as close as I could get to that original one. And I think, because I always have like massive long delay, short solo delay, and backwards. And I think I got this one. This is my brother's actually. I bought it off my brother. I want to say probably about 2014, something like that. Maybe even a bit earlier than that. I don't actually remember. But no, I mean, I'm a creature of habit. Once things work for me, they stay there. But I only find when things work for me through experimentation. So I've tweaked the CR120. I've tweaked the AMG. All sorts of different places. I've tweaked my pedals. I've tweaked my guitars to the point where I just know what works now. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. So I know, and I also know how to manipulate the amps on the pedals on my guitars to get certain things out of them that others won't give me or whatever. It just came through years of experimentation and just trial and error and just figuring things out. And I when I get a new pedal now, I still do that. It's one of the most or a new amp. It's one of the most exciting things for me is to sit and mess with a pedal until I get it right. The Zoom G6 recently, that was so much fun. But again, once I stumble on what I want, it doesn't change. That's your lot. Same with Line 6 HX. All these effects pedals that I have one setting, and that's all it does. That's what that pedal does at that point in time. The Guv'nor is just my big, fat, hot-rodded Marshall Plexi tone, and it always lives on the the output side of either the Jackhammer or the Golden Plexi or whatever pedal goes in that place. I just like it that way. I like the way that the Guv'nor goes into the. I like the way it sounds when the Guv'nor goes into the Golden Plexi, or the Golden Plexi goes into the Guv'nor if you're doing it the right way around, right way around. There's no right or wrong way. You do what you do. But that's just the way it is for me. That's the way I found it worked for me, and it hasn't changed, and I just like it that way. I have tried it the other way around when I was experimenting with pedals, and I don't like it. It sounds wrong and feels totally wrong. So it went back to being the way it is, and that's the way it shall stay until, forever. It won't change for me. I just like it that way. That's just the way I do it. And I think when I go to Anderton's and I do those videos for Anderton's, I think I get a bit. I weird Lee out a bit with the way I run pedals because he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I don't know, but the thing is, I know how I want things to be, and I know exactly. I've tried every pedal under the sun. I know exactly where it needs to be for me to get what I want out of it, regardless of who I'm trying to sound like, or I'm trying to get my sound or a certain sound. I know exactly where it needs to be for it to work for me. It's the same as guitars, and amps. I can pick up any guitar, and within 5 seconds, I will know if I will like it or not. Same with an amp. I can play through an amp for 5 seconds and just know if it's for me or not. Same with pedals. It doesn't take me a lot. And again, that just comes through just experience and just doing things for years and years and years. You eventually just know what you like and what you don't like. And so yeah, it's a funny thing. And it's always nice when things like this come along to totally confuse you and go, oh, like I won't like this kind of guitar, and then you pick it up and it's literally one of your most favourite guitars of all time. Same, Beast Rich Mockingbird is one of my favourite guitars. Flying V's are some of my favourite guitars. You know, it's crazy, some of these things, but yeah. But yeah, that's it. I don't like the pedals the way around. It just doesn't work for me. That is the way I run things, and that is the way I'll always run things. You know, I highly doubt that'll ever change, to be honest with you. I just don't like when the pedals are the way around. That's the way I like them, and that's the way it works for me. It's just really cool, and it just works. So yeah. Anyway, so I hope that's answered your question. I hope I've answered all your questions okay today, people with Tube. Again, as usual, I do worry that I'm just waffling on. I can't stop playing with this monkey grip. You know, it's ridiculously it's like a stress thing. It really is. I don't know why, but it's very, very pleasant to play with. Anyway, and you can just lift the guiup and look cool, like, you know. Yeah, man. Anyway, I don't look cool. Never look cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. Like I said, if you want to submit an ANQ question for ANQ, description box below has a email link. Email me there, as well as links to my Patreon. If you like the videos I do here and like this channel, and you want to support it, please go to my Patreon and support me there. It really helps. Basically, without my Patreons, I can't do this. It's as simple as that. It's basically what's my patrons on Patreon are basically keeping me able to do this. Without them, I won't be able to do this. So I'm forever grateful to anybody who's a patron on Patreon. I say it every time, and it's just, I don't know if it feels like a cop out or what, but literally there aren't enough words. Excuse me, and I'm pretty sure the words don't exist in the English language of how grateful I am. It really. They just fail me. They really do. But I just can't word how grateful I am. Because again, without you on Patreon, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you so much indeed. Like I say, if you do want to support me, please go to Patreon. It really, really helps me out. It really does. It gives me the ability to live. It really does. Thank you very much indeed. There's also links in there as well to my Bandcamp as well. Please go and listen to music. Again, if you go and listen and you like something, please consider buying it as well. That, again, helps me out and also helps my band out as well. As well as links to my merch store as well in the description below. But anyway, people of Tube, I always feel so uncomfortable promoting myself. I do not like to do it. It feels really weird. I'm not very good at self-promotion because I always feel really cringy, and it's like, you know, it's like, sell your wares, you know, and all that kind of thing. And it's just like, I don't know, it's difficult for me to do that kind of thing. It really is. But I'm not doing, you know, hopefully, you know, I don't know. Hopefully it's not whiny. I don't want it to be whiny. Anyway, hopefully it's okay. Anyway, people, Tube, thank you so much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoyed this vid. I'll see you again on Friday for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening. And until then, have a great one. Goodbye now. Thank you for watching.